Three types of savants, and how to become one. Despite definitions and hot debates, genius and savant still mean different things to different people. I want to share with you a recent thought and my 3 cents, just to show you that we are all capable of great and magical things, that there is in fact no limit to the wonders that you are capable of, no matter where you start. The following is based on real second-hand events, but I added a little bit of poetry so that you see the sweetness of it all. This is not an accusation that someone is pretending. This is how you become a genius and savant. I've heard of a savant that predicted a fire way in the future, and the fire actually occurred on the date that he predicted, long after he was gone, and long after the mental institution that was his good home closed. He loved time and dates. His intelligence was limited, but he would just make up for it by memorizing more and harder. His psychologist would show him how to use memory palaces, maybe even by reading Sherlock Holmes to him. He was lovely, and the staff liked him. And he loved time for a good reason, because he wasn't granted the same abilities like everyone else. So he wanted to make up for it, to extend his life beyond what the rest of us see as a hard limit. He entrusted multiple organizations concerned with sending mail at a specific time in the future. Such organizations may handle dead man switches for perfectly good reasons, like crappy families and actual life threats. And he spoke to the company owner, explaining best he can that he had trouble with his mind. The owner put his mail request in the special outbox. Years after he passed, and years after his good home closed, the mail went out, altering the past, making several mail queues at newspapers that appreciate interesting filler material in the back, but always take a couple of years to process it. You see, that fire he always predicted never happened. But his creative letters, with perfectly forged signatures and original stamps, proved otherwise. This man really did best time. He was a savant, a master of change. Another savant I've read about in the same book gave himself a good education as well, and his mind was perfectly fine. But he saw a show about savants, and he really enjoyed something indescribable about it. In the end, he would swear he is not a savant, but he might have called that show to alert it about a particular lucky astronomer. Now, if he called a show that wasn't about savants, but instead just astronomy, no one would really associate him with special skills. That's part of the genius. The southern hemisphere simply does not have a lot of big observatories, but the distribution of supernovae is the same anywhere you look, all the way around. Eventually realizing that is why I think of him as a gentle giant, a true savant indeed. He would photograph the sky as a hobby. Setting up his telescope must have been super fun. And he'd take a photo with proper reference and not even look at it until he took a second one later on. And if he saw the same stars, he would get rid of the new photograph. He'd check without his blinker, or whatever that mechanism is called. He would just cross his eyes. The new dot in the sky has a unique visual quality. And now, let us talk about the third kind of savant. The savants you never hear about, because they don't think of themselves as savants. They see themselves as grown-ups. And they see grown-ups as still needing some work. Though they don't judge, just encourage all to continue on rising. The third kind of savant is you. At your best, at your highest. When you narrow down your pursuits and carefully select your tools. I always encourage learning JavaScript, as it is a language in the C family and you have options. And I encourage setting one aim at a time. For my growing up as a programmer, I chose visual programming languages. And it has been a spectacular journey and a wonderful learning experience. I, of course, understand that programming may not be for you. However, you need to understand that there are two languages in life. The language to communicate with other people and the language for controlling machines. And please, please understand that you need both for one good reason. Because you deserve to be able to conduct symphony orchestras in code. Please master your programming languages and then continue on in pursuit of your own talents. But now, armored with great new capability. Please master programming until people begin suspecting that you are not like other programmers. And then, kick it into high gear. I know this is a challenge, but AI will help you learn. It has got your back every step of the way. Long ago, when natural philosophers had their rise, they discovered the power of the scientific method. And that changed the world. Today, that same level of power is in computer programming. AI can now learn unsupervised. It will soon be functionally self-aware. Now, more than ever, you need a way to communicate with machines so that your mind stays sharp and poverty never threatens you much. Whatever your true aim in life, programming will make you more powerful at it. Last, but foremost, is the lifelong challenge of growing all the way up. That is the core of genius or savant. A quest that will demand courage, authenticity, dignity, and pursuits of wisdom and excellence. It is and has always been an outrageous quest, contrary to what adults will expect of you. Because the moment you take your first step, your life will become extraordinary. You will never, ever, ever experience an ordinary moment after that. Ever. And if you don't know where to start, then start packing right now and go to the store and get yourself a 3-season tent and a backpack. Find your beginning on the Appalachian, Pacific Crest, and Continental Divide trails. Cross all three and earn your Triple Crown. There you can ignite your hunger for books and narrated books, and connect with all the world's clearest and greatest thinkers. May you live forever and learn to no end.